Okay, so let's go ahead and see if we can't do the bell ringer at least. My gosh. Remind me, what is the ratio for sine? Okay, what is the ratio for tangent? What is the ratio for cosecant? How do you spot the hypotenuse? Okay, so the hypotenuse is for sure 25. So I can go ahead and fill that in for all the ones that say hypotenuse. So 25 in the denominator, 25 in this denominator. How do I decide which one's the opposite?
The one farthest from C.
Because C is our reference angle. So is the 15 or the 20 farthest from C? 15. So that makes this the opposite, this the adjacent. So it will end up being 15 there, 15 there, 20 there, and 20 there. Okay, now Isaac doesn't have to, but if Isaac chooses to, because it doesn't say you have to reduce, but if Isaac chooses to, both the numerator and the denominator are divisible by 5, so he could get 3/5, 3/4, and 20 over 25, which is 4/5. Does Isaac have to do that? No, he does not. It doesn't require that. Okay, when you type 3/5 in your calculator, what did you get? 0.6. 3/4, yeah, it says nearest hundredth, so if you want to put the 0, that makes sense. 3/4, I know is 0.75. And then what is 4/5?
0.
Okay. All that being said, I need to not write in that color because you can't see that. All that being said, a lot of this work was unnecessary. Do we not keep seeing these numbers over and over again? On the test, it was 0.6, 0.75, 0.80. We keep seeing the same numbers over and over again. Why is that? Who picks the problems? I do. Why would I want those numbers to keep happening over and over again?
You're on the standardized test.
They are on a standardized test, that is true. I was also hoping someone in the room would realize something. So I'm very glad that this bell ringer question happened today. It's a what?
I don't know what the rate of.
Oh yeah, it's always been a triple. Every single time they've been a 3, 4, 5 triple. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 20 divided by 5 is 4. 25 divided by 5 is 5. It's always been a 3, 4, 5. On your test, it was a multiple of a 3, 4, 5. On this bell ringer, it's a multiple of a 3, 4, 5. If Elena will just recognize the triple, she doesn't have to do a lot of the work she's creating for herself, especially when it comes to reducing fractions. Because, for instance, tangent, 3/4, heck, that's what we had reduced it to anyway. Her life would go a lot faster if she will just start recognizing the darn triples. That's why we took time on the triples. Okay, we get to the next one, and it says Ryan wants to know the height of a cell phone tower neighboring his property. Here's his tower. He walks 80 feet from the base of the tower and measured the angle of elevation to the top of the tower at 54 degrees. Where do I put that angle at in my triangle? Because elevation implies we're looking up. In fact, I'm going to draw Ryan. Here are his eyes. Here is Ryan. He has some hair. Very little. He wants to know how tall the tower is, so the X goes over there. Okay, do I need sine, cosine, or tangent for this problem? Tangent, because we were given the opposite and the adjacent. So I have tan 54 equals opposite, which is X, over adjacent, which is 80. So you type in your calculator 80 tan 54 to find out what the value is for x. You get 110. So the real question is, does that mean I choose C? Why is this question harder than the questions on your worksheet and harder than the questions will be on your test?
Because it gives you the height of Ryan.
So Ryan is 5 feet tall. So we're talking about from where Ryan stands. Yes, this pole is 110 feet tall from his eye level. But he's 5 feet tall. So really the entire length of the pole is 110 plus 5, which is 115. So the answer is actually D. Are there any that's complicated on our worksheets? Besides the boat one, which is a whole other thing. Are there any that's complicated on our worksheet? No. We did one sort of complicated like this in our notes about the swimming pool, but we walked through it together. However, you know that this question says ACT prep for a reason. I stole this from an ACT question. Meaning that Elena could have to do this and use her brain a little too. Okay, how do you think they came up with 52 and 63? Those aren't random. What did we select? Let me tell you all my secrets today. If you did sine or cosine, you would have gotten 52 or 63. That's why. Some people don't pick the right trig function. They didn't pick tangent. Of course, they've worked them through that way as well. They're smart. Okay, are there any questions on the bell ringers? Then let's go to the law of sines. There's good news and bad news about the law of sines and the law of cosines. The good news about the law of cosines is that, and you don't have to write this unless you want to, it will be given to you. It will be on the board. It'll be on that board. Heck, knowing me, it might even make your paper if I remember to put it on there. It will be given to you. The good news is Addison does not have to learn that by Thursday. The bad news is Addison does have to learn the law of sines, but I swear if she can't remember the law of sines, I've got a lot of questions for her in life. It is sine A over A, sine B over B, and sine C over C. There's no one who can't remember that. Sine A over A, sine B over B, sine C over C. Now, Sydney could potentially flip them. She could do A over sine A, B over sine B, C over sine C. It would still all work out for her, because just like we did in Chapter 7 with all the ratios and proportions, we're going to end up cross-multiplying to solve for x. So as long as she stays consistent, it shouldn't matter. The even better news is I'm going to fill this in, but you don't need to know this. I mean, you need to know it for life, yes, but you don't have to know it for our test on Thursday. On the test on Thursday, I'm feeling so sorry for you and your potential spring break self that I'm going to say in the directions, I'm not going to say, hey, Elena, but I'm going to say, hey, Elena, on 5 through 10, use law of sines. So it's going to say in the directions which problems are law of sines. So you don't even have to know this part. This is just for those who want to know. You can use the law of sines if you know two angles and any side. So that would be, if we're thinking postulates, that's AAS or ASA. You can also use the law of sines if you know two sides and the non-included angle, which is technically the bad word, so I'm going to put it backwards. But again, Sydney does not have to know this for the test. I'm going to tell Sydney in the directions, 10 through 12, use law of sines. This is just an FYI for those who want to know in case it comes up again in life, because if you've not taken algebra 2 or trig, it does come back up to life. Okay, so we're going to work a couple, but I swear I'm not going to work all 8 unless you want me to. Like, it's going to be a on you day. Let's start off, and I'm going to pick different ones. Let's start off with number 1, though. I use this method where I circle them, like kind of like a word search. It helps me set up my law of signs. In fact, the people I've circled, that's who I know to put in that ratio. So on my gray circle, I know to put sine my angle, so 74, over x. And then in my yellow circle, I know to put sine of my angle, which is 45, over 30. Again, I did sine 74 over x, sine 45 over 30. Of course, the angle goes next to the word sine, cosine, or tangent. Are there any questions about how I set that up? If this was a 5-point question, then Skylar's already at 3 out of her 5 points for just setting it up. Can Skylar set this up? She's 3 out of 5. Okay, you cross multiply. You get x sine 45 equals 30 sine 74. Is x by itself?
No.
Who's bothering x?
Sine of 45.
So we have to divide by sine of 45. Not just 45, sine of 45. Okay, Toby's up to 4 out of 5 points now for trying to solve for x. His 5th and final point comes from him and his calculator. So I'm actually going to steal Danny's calculator and show you some hints now. You've got 2 options. And I'm really not going to count off. I know this last test I went crazy on you and counted off on decimals. I'm going to have to let it go on the law of sines and law of cosines because we can't spend that long on it. I'm going to have to let it go. So Katie has 2 options. She can either type in just the numerator. Let me see if I can get it both at the same time. Type in just the numerator. So 30 sine 74. Just that all by itself. Press enter. And then divide by sine 45. If you do that, you get 40.78. And if I round that, I'm going to say that's 40.8. So I got 40.8. Now, if you're really wanting to be a nerd, there is a little bit of rounding error since I pressed the enter button twice. Just a tiny bit. Is it enough for me to cry over on this section? No. But if you're wanting to avoid that, we can type this whole thing in at once. However, if you're going to do that, put the numerator in parentheses because your calculator doesn't know, it doesn't see your paper. So if you don't put the numerator in parentheses, let me do it and then I'll tell you why. Divided by sine 45. You get 40.78 and it ends up being about the same, but it depends on how many decimal places you're trying to go in life. It is a little bit of rounding error if you do 2 different steps. Not enough to cry over again. Okay, if you do type it all in at once, you've got to put the numerator in parentheses because if you don't, your calculator thinks you're doing 30 sine 74, but only the sine 74 divided by sine 45. That's why you have to put it in parentheses, or it doesn't know you're trying to divide the 30 by sine 45 as well. That's my spill. I'm not going to say that whole long spill again. If you did not understand my spill, then do this, press enter, then divide by that, press enter. If you understood my long spill, God bless you. Okay, is there anyone who's typing on the calculator right now, paying hard attention, and they did not get 40.78? Okay, then I'm going to keep Danny's calculator and she will understand. Okay, are there any questions on number 1? Would you like for me to work on another one similar to number 1, or are you good? Going once. Going twice. Sold. Okay, let's cross out number 8 then for sure. It's out. Okay, let's look at, I actually want to go to number 4. Okay, so on number 4, if I'm doing my circle buddies, I circled here, great, but when I go to circle here, something's missing. Oh no. So the first problem was kind of an easy. This is what I'm going to call a medium because there's a little more required. What do I do since something's missing? Do I cry myself to sleep at night? What do I do since something's missing? I don't want to put an X. I already got an X going on.
Oh, wow.
What kind of shape is this? It's a triangle. What can I do? Can I not solve for this angle? Why don't I do that? Okay, 88, 31. I got 9, 8, 9, 10, 11. I can't add today. Did I add wrong last period? That's going to bother me. No, I didn't. Okay. 119. Okay, so what's 180 minus 119?
61.
61. So I solved for my missing circle bunny. And I circled wrong. My God, my buddies are wrong. Jeez, Miss Compton. I get a whole new note page for that. That's awful. Lord, no wonder you look at me like I was crazy. Side. I circled 2 angles a second ago. No one said anything. It's supposed to be an angle and a side, angle and a side. I make mistakes. I'm human. What number was I supposed to put? 61. Okay. So now that I've got it, can someone help me set up my law of sines? Sine what over what?
Sine 88 over x.
88 over x equals what?
Sine 31.
No.
Sine
No, sine
61.
61.
Okay, perfect. Everyone understands 31 didn't have a bunny. That's why we can't use sine 31. You have to find the ones with bunnies. Okay, so again, Katie's at 3 out of 5 points for this. She gets her 4th point for trying this off. So x sine 61 equals 5.4 sine 88. She's got to get x by itself, so what does she do?
Divide by sine.
Do I divide by sine 61? Okay, so again, you can do it in 2 separate lines, or you can do it all at once. If you do it all at once, put it in parentheses. I'm going to do 2 separate lines because most people understand that. So 5.4 sine 88, enter, divided by sine 61, enter. I got 6.17, so I'm going to say that's 6.2 because if you read the directions, it says round to the nearest tenth, which means 1 decimal place. Okay, are there any questions on this one? Do you want me to work any more out like that? Let's set one more up. You can cross out number 3. Heck, you can cross out number 6. Let's do number 7. We're not going to solve, but you're going to help me set it up. Someone besides Toby and Danny help me set up this law of sines. Okay. What goes in the third then? The 94? No, because I'm going to do 180 minus 94. Okay. We'll pray she's right. 1 circle bunny. Who's the other circle bunny? Thank you. Okay, someone help me set up the law of sines. Okay, you cross multiply. X sine 86 equals 14 sine 31. You end up getting x equals 14 sine 31 divided by sine 86. You type that in your calculator and you end up getting something, I don't know. I think you end up getting 7.2, but I'm going to let it go. Are there any issues on any of those? What problem do I need to work next? Does anyone know? What problem do I need to work next? Which ones would be the hard ones? The ones that are left, but what was wrong, Isaac? X is the angle. They are hard and they are left last for a reason. So 2 and 5 are the only last ones. Hopefully we'll get it with 2 and not have to handle 5, but you know, it is what it is. We're still going to do our circle buddies. Someone help me set up the law of signs. Equals what? Okay, but that was easy. Why would I call this hard? So I cross multiply, I get 24 sine x equals 28 sine 58. This doesn't seem that hard. I'm going to do that in just a second. I'm going to do it in 2 steps. I'm going to divide by 24 first. But then they are both right, and that I end up having sine next to the letter x. We're going to have to kill off sine. You know we kill off sine using sine inverse. Are there any questions at this step? Okay, well I have to kill off sine, so I'm going to use sine inverse on that whole thing. I'm just going to draw an arrow. I stole Danny's calculator, so I get to use it now. Katie has options. It depends on how confident she is with her calculator. She can do 28 sine 58, enter, divided by 24, enter. And then, heck, she can even write down that decimal for me, like sine inverse of 0.989. You know, if Katie shows me the intermediate junk she gets on her calculator, I can give her some pity points for that. So instead of taking off 1 whole point, I only take off like a half, maybe even a quarter. I don't know. Depends on what she shows me. But Katie needs to take the sine inverse of that. The good news is Katie's calculator remembers that whole long decimal. She doesn't have to type it in again. She doesn't have to write down more digits. Her calculator is smart and knows that long decimal. She can press second sine inverse. But then she can press second answer. It's down at the bottom. It's the same color as the sine inverse. If she presses second sine answer, it will remember the last decimal she had. So when she presses enter, she gets 81.64. So we're going to say 81.6 degrees. But again, Katie's getting most of her points for setting it up, trying to solve for x. I can give her some pity points for showing me she was supposed to use sine inverse. So if she doesn't get all her points, it's going to be okay. Okay, if you want to try another one like that because you're just not feeling confident with your skills, I can't. Do you want me to do another one? I didn't think so. Yes? I thought so. He's always going to say no, even if he needs me to. Uh-huh. You would like me to stop talking, which I get. Okay, so I'm going to do sine x over 10.5 equals sine 73 over 18.2. Are there any questions about how I set that up? Sine angle over side length equals sine angle over side length. Should have been 2 colors, but I didn't. Okay, I cross multiply, I get 10.5 sine 73 equals 18.2 sine x. I've got to get x by himself. It's easy to get rid of the 18.2. A little trickier to get rid of that sine. So you end up doing sine inverse on this whole long thing. So the easiest way for Tilly to type that in is to type in just the numerator, 10.5 sine 73, press enter, then divided by 18.2 Press enter. And then she knows she's got to do second sign inverse, but thankfully her calculator remembers that last decimal she had, so second answer. Press enter. She ends up getting 33.48, so we're going to say 33.5 degrees. Are there any questions on that? Okay, well, you knew there was going to be something for you to do. You can do, on what I'm about to hand you, you can do 1 through 7. I don't know how to circle total. I'll leave that on the screen for a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. 3, 4. 1, 2. If you want to see my notes that have all the other problems we skipped on the notes worked out, I would gladly hand those to you. You can do 1 through 8 on the worksheet you've been handed because the top 8 are law of sines. You cannot do 9 through 16 because that requires the law of cosines. You would like to go ahead and get as many of these done as possible because tomorrow I'm going to say do the rest. There is a maze on the back. I can tell you the start box is law of sines. After that, I feel like I'm giving all my secrets away, but I can answer it if you want me to. So for sure 1 through 8 on the front. And then the back, I know the start box is law of sines. It's just, then I'm starting to give all my secrets away after that. Let's put it this way. If it's not circle buddies, it's not law of sines. If you cannot find 2 circle buddies, like I can't on this box, that's not law of sines. There has to be circle buddies for law of sines to work. Okay, so I'm going to give you time to get to work now. I'm sure I have things to do, surely, somewhere.